Meeting to order. Calling meeting to order at 5:05. Notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting notices in City Hall and sending notices to the Times newspaper in the Trentonian on December 18th, 2023. For folks that are looking at their screens, you'll see we have some new faces here. Don and Jordan and Jake. Oh, Jake. I'm looking for a face. Okay, there's Jake. There's a face. Are with Comcast. And as you know, we do like to front load our presentations for the benefit of everybody. Is everybody okay if we just kind of jump into this first?
Sure.
Yeah. So you'll recall, my just quick refresher, we talked about figuring out ways to upgrade our technology, our data collection, et cetera, in each of the decks, but some are more pressing than others. And Comcast, particularly under the Comcast Smart Solutions division, or whatever that may be, they'll tell us, has kind of a specialty and has worked with folks to upgrade technology, hopefully in efficient, cost-effective ways. So we began having some conversations just online, and I think Scott was involved in at least one of them. And they kind of came up with an approach, which is to do sort of a test case on our most obsolete technology facility, which is the one we're sitting in, that runs between Broad and Warren, where it's just the oldest kind of less feature-filled technology. So they have come up with a proposal, and I thought it would be timely to have them do kind of an overview to our team. So with that, Don, you want to take it from there?
Sure. Thanks, Ann. And thanks everyone for allowing us to join. Yeah, we've had conversations, and I do have a presentation to share, but I also want to be mindful of time. So, Ann, how much time do you can you allot us?
Well, is 10 or 15 minutes fine? Is that, I hope?
That'll work. That tells me the speed to go.
Okay.
So I'm going to share just a few slides, and really it was about the conversation of the challenge that you probably are all very aware of, but I'm going to kind of reiterate some of the things that we went over, and then also touch on how we can bring a solution to those challenges. And so I'm Don Feltenberger. I'm the account manager. I met Ann up in Newark, I believe. We were at a summit, and she happened to walk up to our table, and surprise, surprise, yeah, Comcast is doing parking solutions. It was perfect timing. On the call with me is Jake Purcell, who's my director, as well as Jordan Weiss, who is one of our solution providers that we partner with to bring solutions to our clients with Mojo. So I'm going to touch on this, but I'm also going to allow Jordan to kind of layer on at times, as well as Jake. So let me, first of all, I am a Teams user.
Share, right?
Let me see. Share screen. There it is.
Can you do it, or do I need to share my screen?
No, we don't have it. He's got it. You just need
Yeah, I host disabled attendee screen sharing. Oh, can you allow me to? I guess the host says I can't do it.
We'll change that.
Okay.
You got it?
Our participants can share at a time. The top one or
Oh,
one.
got it now. Got it now.
Got it? Okay.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Oh, no, wait. Maybe I got to hit something else here. 1 second. I'm not seeing my whole screen here.
We should have done this right off while we were waiting. Didn't think about it.
Share. There we go.
Oh, we
Now
like
let me
that.
move this. Let me move this back.
Good.
Beautiful. Are you seeing? What are you seeing?
We're seeing some narrative
Project overview.
left, and we see what looks like a
Project overview. Yes.
Looks like
All right. Terrific. So the top is really just kind of stuff that you already know. So what I'm going to really touch on is what the challenges that we went over, and there was several. So you have a solution that's been in place for a while, and there's a lot of people that are used to it. So how do you start to make a transition to technology to solve some of the other challenges that you're running into, yet at the same time still keep a technology that many people are used to, and even you have contracts that are kind of aligned to it. So that was the challenge that was faced, one of the challenges that was faced. The other one was, how do we capture more data so that we can make sure that we're utilizing our parking spaces efficiently and capturing as much revenue as possible? Older technology that is harder to manage and doesn't offer younger students, and this is one of the reasons we chose Warren Street, is because it's very dynamic. It has monthly subscribers, it has student parking, it has transient. So this gives you an opportunity to really see the platform, see how user-friendly it is, and see the different changes and the pivots that you can make as time goes, and you capture that data, understand really what the parking habits are of the people that are parking at your location. We also talked about a token system that has many challenges with the local school system. So how do we approach that? How do we create a more seamless solution, as well as one that's a little bit more technically advanced? And then transient, I kind of touched on transient already, but we're talking about making sure that you're maximizing transient parking and offering multiple options in regards to parking, not just from payment, but timing, daytime, week, maybe per event, and being able to easily adjust those payments or those charges throughout the application.
And John,
And then
if I can just,
Go ahead.
for Scott knows this because he was in the meeting, but for Lindy and Sam, you might not realize, but at this location, we literally, you have to park, you have to pay an all-day fee. You can't come in for an hour or two and pay that way. You have to pay all day, which is bad for shoppers, for instance. But it's just the old technology here.
Yes. So being able to keep that situation, because there are a lot of people that are still using that and are used to that, but also layer on software that's going to allow for transient parking and create different tier levels of charges depending on the day, depending on the time, 2-hour parking, 4-hour parking, 6-hour parking, so on and so forth. That's one of the challenges that we also touched on. So there's this is kind of a quote summary, but I'm going to skip over here to the solution summary, and this is really the solutions that we came up with, and I'll allow Jordan to layer onto this as well. I'm going to hit them on a high level initially. So data, how do we capture more data? Well, this is through a software program that's really going to give you real-time data on when people are parking, how long they're there, how many spaces are open during the week, different times, different days, different hours. That's really going to give you an idea, a snapshot of what the normal cadence is, where you can make measures and say, hey, during this day or this hour, we're typically going to have so many spots open. Digital, this is becoming really important. I could probably put a poll up for the room. How many of you used a digital payment or used your mobile phone with an application on it? I would venture to guess everyone would raise their hand. So as we know, well, I have 2 college students. Well, one just graduated, thank goodness. But they have their mobile phone kind of, I think it's starting to grow into their hand. So it's like always with them. So this becomes a perfect opportunity to layer on technology to allow them to use that application to pay for parking, whether it be Apple Pay or Google Pay, or whether it be reserved through an application. Okay, that's really the technology that we want to be able to layer on to create more of a seamless process. This is also going to allow you to market to transient parkers, a more seamless way for them to pull in, use a QR code potentially, or use one of those payment methods. So really, digital is becoming very important, and it ties all the payments tied to your existing accounting system. So it's still that integration that allows everything to transfer over. The token system, we talked about it. I guess I don't really have to go deep into why that is a challenge. Just seems like a challenge. And how do we, again, you know, the majority of college students are younger and they're using their phones all the time. Many of them already have applications built onto their phones to make payments. So it becomes just normal process for them to layer something on to their mobile phones to create a seamless parking process. And that's, I think, what becomes really valuable for Trenton is to be able to utilize a system that's working. Can everyone still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just lost a picture or something, so I wasn't sure. To layer on technology to capture the data needed. So you're talking about driving revenue by layering on technology, upgrading that technology. Secondly, as you learn data, because you're going to get analytics, you begin to pivot. You begin to change how you're going to charge based on supply demand. Okay? You're going to drive marketing for certain time periods to drive in more revenue, to utilize spaces that we're not quite sure are being used today because of all of the different aspects of parking and work nowadays, where people are working full time, but are they in a hybrid situation? Are they coming to the office every day? Having that data really becomes valuable when it comes to making changes for parking and utilizing every spot and getting every piece of revenue that you can out of that. So I'm going to pause there for a moment for any questions, but also I want to allow then Jordan, if you want to layer on, or Jake, layer on to some of the things that I touched on here before we move forward.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. The one thing that I would layer onto that is that the solution that we're proposing is a virtually hardware-free solution. So it's a financially efficient solution for the facility. There's no rip and replace of expensive hardware. There's no there's no downtime to install new hardware, things like that. This is really just it's a software platform and a simple use of a QR code to digitally transform the process in the facility. So it's a very simple process and simple installation and implementation, and it's a very hardware light solution for Trenton.
And it's mostly cloud-based in terms of the data, right?
Yeah, so when you're layering on other locations in the future, if you decide, you know, once you get adapted to this solution and you say, yes, this is something we need to implement across the board, because it's software, it can be all integrated. So again, you know, managing that process, how it doesn't have to be, but however you want to build it into the software, it can be built.
Okay, so it doesn't need to right out of the box, then it doesn't, when we're in one location, that's not necessary. Is that what that means?
Say that again. I want to make sure I'm answering the right question.
No, you know what,
Jordan,
let's go, because I might be a little confused. Let's go through the presentation and I'll make a notes on my question.
All right, so with this stuff, I'm going to lean on Jordan. If you want to just touch on this quickly, some of these slides, Jordan, that'd be great. I mean, this is really just a picture of the dashboard. Facility is the software platform for the parking. Jordan, do you want to add anything? I know we're under time constraints, so you know.
Yeah, just go ahead, Ann.
This is important. We're not, you know, we want to get through, we want to get a good
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, just just real quick, this solution is for both monthly permit holders that would be parking in the facility, as well as transient parkers. So the platform manages and administers for both those options. So for a monthly parker, what we'll do is we will upload all the current monthly parkers information into a profile, into their profiles in the system, and they will be able to self-manage and pay for their profiles through access to the web portal. For the transient parkers, it will be a simple QR code sign that will be at the entrance of the facility. that they can just, they can click on, enter the portal, and then open their what we call parking session and pay for parking right through the right through the web portal there. So all the payments and the processing will go directly to the parking authority. We don't handle, our solution doesn't handle any of the payment processing. We will set up a payment processing merchant account on behalf of the parking authority, and you'll have full management rights for that. So this is an example of the profile that will be in the system. Again, monthly parkers as well as transients can go in and self-manage, open up sessions, pay for parking, and handle all of it through their mobile device. And then all that payment information, session information, monthly parker information will be available in reports and dashboards that will be available, accessible, and can be sent out to stakeholders as needed.
So I think this is just another picture of the platform and how things are entered. And of course, we're going to add training to this as well. So the software, as you add any new system, there's a little bit of learning, but it is pretty straightforward. And once you understand how to use it, it becomes really easy to manipulate. This is some of the reporting that's going to come out. Activity trends. It's going to tell you, broken down by a key at the bottom: activity, occupancy, transient, so on and so forth, and what that looks like weekdays by hour and weekends as well. So I think this is where you can really take this information and see, okay, where do we have more spots open where we're really not making any revenue? Is there a way to make it more attractive to park there during those times, just to capture any revenue that you possibly can? So that's the business side of it, where once you get the data, then you start to make pivots, and then you get the data to see how the pivots are working, and then you continue to pivot if there's ways that you can. Sorry, was there a question?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
Well,
yeah, if we're
this
ready,
is go ahead, Anthony.
yeah, if we're into question and answers, you kind of did the overview you wanted at this point, Don and Jordan.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
all right, so I think Sam's got, I will start with, relative to the screen you just showed, we did talk about trying to figure out if we would do off-peak pricing or something like that, if there starts to be apartments downtown. And I also wonder, and I'm assuming we can start to program that into it, right? Different times of day, different.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's software, it's very flexible on how you want to set up the different, how you're going to set up different profiles within the application to charge in a certain way. And Jordan, keep me honest here. So, and that can be by hour, by day, or by profile of who's parking there. A different profile for a student than a transient or than a monthly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's highly configurable based on the parker type, based on the dynamics of the facility. You can provide discounting for for students versus retail shoppers, and so on and so forth.
And I think another thing to consider is I know that you're under contracts for monthly subscribers, and when that contract comes up, I think you'll have data that will help you understand the best way to maybe structure the next contract, whether that be keeping it, static, not changing anything because it works the best for you from a revenue perspective, or if there's ways to say, hey, because of these new apartments coming in, we are getting higher occupancy levels, and these apartments or visitors that are coming in are giving us more revenue than the monthly. maybe it would be beneficial for the people who do the monthly to get a little bit of a discount because it allows parking to open up for people that you make more money, better margin on. So anyway, I'm just giving an example. That might not be the case, but you don't know what the case is unless you have the data. And that's where the data just becomes really key in understanding what the next business move is when it comes to contracts.
Yeah, well, one of the things that came up with some of our non-state clients was, as they were doing more hybrid work schedules, they didn't want to buy monthlies. And we didn't really have an option for them, right? Other than to just pay that day by the day.
Well, they could do, yeah, they could do by daily, or they could do, if it was a company or something, they had the option to buy some tokens.
Yeah, and so then the only other option is that kind of retro token approach, so. Yeah, so that's something we probably want.
Yeah, this is going to offer you flexibility to probably set up a whole, really take a look at what their needs are and what's the best way that you can maximize the spots, but also, give them the solution that fits their needs as well. So I think that's what the flexibility of having it as a software program, a cloud-based software program. So.
Hey, Sam, you had some questions?
Yeah, I have a few questions here. Dawn and Jordan, thanks so much for the presentation. My first question is, Jordan, you said this program is hardware free, right? Is that correct? It's hardware free.
It was,
Yeah,
I think there's a very little bit, right, Jordan? Like one piece of equipment or something.
Yeah, it's virtually hardware free. There's very little hardware. There is one piece, there is a device about the size of a credit card, a thick
Right.
credit card that will go in, that would be placed into the gate apparatus that has a port to it that would connect to allow remote gate vending. But that is the extent of the hardware.
So, I mean, how do you connect your connectivity? Is that through Wi-Fi or cloud? Technology.
It would be through Ethernet connection.
So internet. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So my next question is that do you have the means of letting, I mean, you have any activity or record to show how many vehicles entered and left this facility? Or
Yeah,
also the total amount collected for the day. You have a record, and you do that or no?
I'm sorry, repeat that last part.
The last one is there a way we can know total money, the amount collected for the day, total amount realized for the day. You have
Number
that?
number of in terms of occupancy and transactions.
Yes, right.
Yes, absolutely. We can, yeah, it could be month, week, day, hour. You can break it down in any time frame. And then if you do expand to multiple facilities, you can also aggregate all that information, all that data up to an overall, or break it out by facility.
Okay, looking at your slide, previous slide I saw, you provide some kind of motion surveillance. So do you survey the facility like that or no?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Hold on a second. Do you have a camera that survey the vehicles coming in and out or no? You don't.
Like
What camera
license
is that?
or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do provide, we do offer overhead cameras for occupancy tracking as well. But yeah, Don, I forgive me.
So
Is that,
no,
is
I
that
could
in
speak
the
to that.
scope?
So I mean that is
Okay.
something that we can layer on. It was not a part of the solution initially, but it's obviously something that can be layered on. And in the future, as license plate reading gets more and more, let's say, popular or accepted, that's where a camera sometimes also brings an additional value. Is there another reason that you were looking for a camera there, Samuel?
saw some of your slide, like, I saw a vehicle in the
Oh, you
background,
saw a
so
picture. Yeah.
a
Yes.
picture. So I thought maybe
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys
You're right. Here you go.
provide. Yeah, read that. So I
Yep,
thought maybe
that's yeah. So this shows an example of a platform that's already existing, and this one has a camera that is integrated into it. So it is again, it's something that can be layered on now based on our conversations up to this point. It wasn't something that we thought was necessary yet, but it can be integrated if you wanted it now, we could integrate it and get a price. If it's something you wanted to integrate in the future, that's something that can be layered on as well.
But
thanks. Hey guys, real quick.
that's plate recognition function primarily, right?
It could be. Yes, that's a video analytic that can be layered onto the software of the images that the camera captures.
Yeah,
Is
we actually we call it vehicle fingerprinting. So it takes license plate recognition and it layers on additional information like make and model of car, identifying features of that car, whether there's a scratch or a dent, or there's a bumper sticker or something like that. So it's a license plate recognition, but it's more feature rich and it's more accurate.
Seems very Big Brother too, though.
Well, it obscures it obscures it obscures the data. In fact, if you want, it can even obscure the license plate itself and just vehicle fingerprint based on all the other information.
Well,
There's a lot of ways to.
Yeah, were you thinking of it from a safety or security standpoint or from a license plate recognition? I mean, what made you ask? Oh, Sam, you're muted.
Yeah.
Sam, did you have a specific, yeah, did you have a reason what you were looking for when you asked about the cameras or what you thought it would add to the mix?
Well, I have the camera because I thought it would be an added advantage to the process if we're gonna have the camera, that under the system. But if it's not, part of the agreement right now, I can understand. But if it's possible, we'll have a camera along with the service. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's an easy add-on to the scope. It can either be done now or it can be done at any time in the future. It's a very simple installation for the camera.
Michael, Scott, Lindy, you got thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I got a couple quick questions. So access to the facility be through scanning a QR code, you said? Is that the only method?
Scanning the QR code, and you can also no, well, the primary is scanning the QR code. Once you're in, you can identify yourself by license plate or mobile phone number.
They don't have say if they don't have a phone on them at the time, or battery's gone or something, what would happen? They wouldn't have access?
Yes, they would have access. Is it a gated facility? I don't recall, Don.
Yeah.
It is a gated
Yeah.
facility. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if there's a
A button for a
a
ticket.
button, a ticket button, they can just pull a ticket, or they can if there's an intercom, they can request for support. But the primary way is through the QR code. There are multiple ways that we can do it, and if we need to configure an additional secondary way for access, we can absolutely do that.
So currently, so if they didn't have the QR code scanned in and they push the card for a card, the button, that your system wouldn't record them then. We'd miss that piece of data, right?
No, it would put it would. We would make sure that's configured that there will be a secondary way to open up that session. So there's not going to the leakage potential is going to be very minimal, because we'll create redundancies on how to record that transaction based on the dynamics in the current hardware that's in the system. But the primary way is is accessing through the QR code, or they can even well, I was going to say they can, access through a web portal, but they'll need their phone for that.
So now, so they come up to the gate. I assume there's an app they can use an app to prepay, right? They can prepay ahead of time, go up there, scan, and just go on through, right? But if they don't, how long would that process take them? If they just a new person just came to town, they saw the code, I scanned. How long is that going to take them to get into the garage?
The session will open up immediately, and they'll be able to finish the finish the session once they pull into their parking spot. So they're not going to be stuck at the gate having
Okay.
to put in all their credit card information. No. They'll it'll open up immediately. The QR code will signal the gate. That's why we put in that gate the gate vending kit. It'll vend the gate immediately so they can pull in and then they can finish their session.
But in the event they go through, they scan, they go in. If they don't have a credit card, they don't have money. What happens to them then? How do they get out?
They'll if they'll have to they'll have to contact support. They'll have to contact
We do have a
And I only ask because there's someone's going to go through. Oh crap! I forgot my card, or just because they know it allows them in, and then figure they'll argue something to get back out. I'm just trying to get a sense of
yeah. There's
I'd rather them pay be-
No, our part.
There's always going to be some edge cases, and what we do when we configure the system is based on the types of parkers and how they've been using the system and how you would like them to use the system. We're going to configure it to that 95% of all the use cases. There will be some edge cases that we may need to address on a one-off basis and configure based on that. But our implementation team works very closely with the with your team to understand all the different scenarios and all the different use cases and make sure that we address the good 95% of those.
The last question is now you said it's mostly virtual. There are some small amount of hardware, but there is some connection to the control arm, to the actual gate, right? So that you can
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
That's all I have.
Correct.
That's all the question I have.
Yeah, just a small device, smaller than a cell phone, than a mobile phone, that goes into the the gate apparatus itself and just connects to the there's a port that just connects virtually to the system itself.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And does that mean no more key fobs? Or pass, or codes or cards, I should say?
It's probably going to be up to you. Right.
Yeah.
The existing system can continue to work how it's working. This is like a software overlay that's going to give multiple new options and also give you the flexibility you need on your end to manage pricing, timing, things like that. As you, one of the other great values about this solution is if you want to start to transition people over to the newer technology, it's not like many times this kind of situation, it'd be like, we're changing everything. Boom. Those fobs don't work anymore. Those, those don't work anymore. Here, we're keeping the existing system because you have some monthlies, you have some contracts, we have some normal people that are used to a certain cadence, but you're still layering on technology. And then as you go, you may want to start saying, hey, we want to start migrating some people over. So we're going to give them notice. We're going to say, hey, start getting your account, so on and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's up to if people are really tied to their key fobs, we can work through that. If they've got RFID cards and that, we can work through that as well.
Interesting. I had a question that just went in and out of my head.
Where do you sign? Oh no, I was just guessing what it was.
Good. The credit card stuff, that all kind of is the same. Is that integrated into this somehow with credit card processing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. You talked about setting up the account.
Yeah, that can be tied. See, once a transient goes in, if they tie a credit card, in the future, if they scan that QR code, that information can be saved into the system. Jordan, am I right about that? And then that makes it even more
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
enter the
yes.
information and allow the system to save it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then-
yeah, sometimes, yeah, some customers choose to do that, some customers don't
Right.
want that, they don't want it saved in, it's based on, it's based on user preference.
Yeah. I park at place in the city when I come in and use a QR code, and it's a lot easier that they just save my information, because as soon as I scan and hit process, I don't have to enter anything. It's it notifies me, yep, you're good to go.
But this is one
And it can
you
also,
repeated, you're there a lot, right? It's not, it's.
I'm not there that much.
Okay.
It's just that they store, you have the option to store your credit card. You know.
Patrice, do you have?
Jake
one?
can attest to that, right?
you can do, it also accepts Google, Apple Pay and Google Pay as well, so.
Yes.
For
It's a matter of how they want to pay and how they want to
Yeah.
set up their profile. If they want to set up a profile, or if they want to make it like now just make it a separate transaction every time I go.
Maybe one
However they want to set it up.
Lindy, Michael, any thoughts, questions?
The only thought or question I had was, if our users don't have the latest and greatest in, iPhone technology or the most, up to date version of iOS, will this technology still work? But it also sounds like we've got some backups of older existing technology we can keep in place as we move everyone over to this system. But I think this is it's like a good fit with our existing equipment that gives us kind of the latest cutting edge, technology as a retrofit. Just I love doing this kind of stuff around the house, like connecting a cheap Bluetooth receiver to an old stereo or something. It's kind of what we're doing. And we've priced hardware replacement, and it's ridiculously expensive. So I think there's going to be a lot of flexibility in how we use this retrofit going forward. So
yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And again, our implementation team will work, once and if we get underway, our implementation team sits down with your team and goes through and captures all of the different use cases that the different Parker types, different use cases, different scenarios, and we'll create and configure the system based on that. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility, and there's a lot of redundancies that we can set up to make sure that we don't let the most of those scenarios fall through the cracks.
Lindy, you unmuted yourself. Got anything? You may have wandered away. All right, guys, I think that's good. We're gonna, we'll be distributing your quotes and that sort of stuff and have more questions among ourselves on that. But this has been, I think, pretty helpful to me. And, I've heard from you before, but I kind of get new stuff every time I talk with it, so it's all good.
Terrific. And if, as we progress, if Michael, I think you're the one that reviews the terms and conditions on the actual contract. If you wanted to set up a call with our legal counsel as well to go through any of that, reach out or have Ann reach out to me, and we can set that up as well.
sure, sounds good.
Okay. So Ann, I'll kind of, before I jump here and let you get back to business as usual, what's the next step in this process? Do you
Well,
need something from me? And
Just send us your PowerPoint, so we have that as a part of our record. Put that on your to-do list. I know that's small stuff, but we'll incorporate. And then we will, as a body, review the quotes that you gave us, and insight from our attorneys and our team, our staff team here. and make sure we're all on the same page and we think this all works. And, you know, I think the beauty of what you're offering, from my standpoint, is it's a test case. We're going into our most challenged location and testing this. And we'll be able to kind of evaluate it from there. We're not, you know, committing a system-wide thing at this point, but I do think this particular garage is screaming out for help, so it puts out a fire for us, but it also kind of shows us the way, system-wide, system solutions.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'll allow you to see how flexible you can be in really utilizing all your spots and understanding how you can maximize those spots for revenue. So agreed. So I'll send you this. Should I follow up with you next week, or when
Yeah,
should
you're
I
good
follow
about
up?
that. Appreciate that. And I do want to make sure this looped in, and that if there's any legal questions that have to be, you know, kind of honed in on, we do that sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And I think everyone on the call has my email now. It should be in, I think it's in the invite, but most of you have sent emails too. So, well, really appreciate you allowing us to come on and present. We're really excited to partner with you and bring this solution and help progress the parking in Trenton. So thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right, now back to our usual team. Wow, that took a lot longer than we expected, but I kind of thought it was important. Hope everybody agrees. I think that we can get through the rest of our stuff pretty efficiently. With that, hoping everybody had a chance to review the minutes. I'll make a motion that we accept the April 24th minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Linda. Any questions, changes, corrections? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of accepting the minutes as circulated, say aye. Or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, thanks, folks. That's the minutes. The April 24th financial reports, hoping everybody had a chance to review what was circulated. I will make a motion that we accept the financial reports. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Any questions, comments, insights? You'll notice we are up, and that's reflective of some new the state parkers that are related to the PSE&G DEP project alongside of labor and industry. So it won't last, but it's good while it's coming. Okay, no further questions on that. All in favor of accepting the financial reports as circulated, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
That sounds unanimous, and moving on, okay. The checklist that was circulated for April 24th. I'll make a motion that we accept the checklist. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions, comments?
Yeah, I had one on here for THA Consulting. I see we got two payments. One was from February, one's from March, but the March one got paid before the February one got paid. Did they bill us late or something for the February?
It could have been. Probably, or it was missed or something. Yeah, because they send it to me through email most of the time. And if I don't see it, that must have been what happened.
And it's a
Yeah.
little, I mean, it's only off by $1,200 Is that something different they did in February or in March that they didn't do in February or something? So I see $1,200 difference. Or there wasn't a flat fee with hours or something?
Well, is it possibly from the inspections that they do at Barn Front? I think it was Lil.
I believe the monthly inspection fee is 2,600.
They didn't do a special inspection after the earthquake, but I'm not sure if that's been billed yet, that Commissioner Rice is referencing.
The February is 3,600 and the March is 4,800.
March, yeah, I don't think that would be reflective of that special inspection. They also did the design, if you recall, for the structural support. So it could be that it was a progress billing. I'd have to look at the invoices themselves. I generally look at them and then send them on to Patrice, with my comments, and then she in turn processes them. So Patrice, if you want to send me those, I could certainly comment, in an email, and you could distribute it to clarify.
Well, we should expect one more then because of the other inspection you're saying?
Correct. There's continuing ongoing monthly inspections based on the requirement of the Construction Board of Appeals.
Right. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the checks? Thanks for looking closely, Scott. All in favor of accepting the checklist as presented, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Sam, Lindy?
Aye. Hello? It's aye.
Yeah, gotcha. Lindy? I have to come back to her. You might have stepped away. Which we do tend to do. Okay, those are the things that we vote on. I hope folks had a chance to review both the nonprofit report and the monthly Phoenix, our backward looking and our forward looking reports that were in your package. Any questions on those?
No.
We got two from Brian.
Yeah, he didn't go
Because he
away.
was, yeah, he was away, so we have April and March from Phoenix. Okay, let's jump to Lou. You want to go next? In the interest of.
Sure. Good afternoon. So if you reference my facility report, I actually had a couple items that deal with broad in front. I don't know if you're prepared to move forward with some decisions on some of the pre-demo work, but I did get updated pricing, and those were some of the attachments that were provided with the facility report. So what I did is I went back to the professionals for updated costs for the pre-demo. That involves the testing and inspection by USA Environmental for asbestos and other environmental concerns. It also involves THA Consulting for the design for a bid package for the ultimate demolition of the building. And they would be looking to use sub-consultants, and that is the Colliers Engineering Group. They have a proposal, and they have a whole series of items that they're offering, services and associated costs. So I was recommending a limited amount of items need to be addressed at this time, and then in the future we could engage them for further services as needed. And then there's also, as part of a demolition of this nature, there's requirements for vibration monitoring. So a design has to be put forth, and then as part of the bid package, there would be costs associated with monitoring and reporting of any vibration issues in the adjacent areas to the area of demolition. So that's what I was capturing in the four line items that were asking for board action this month. The attached backup provides the detail. I'm not proposing that we award THA the full design and construction administration. I was recommending only the design portion, since the construction administration can be awarded when the job goes out to bid. But it would give us a preliminary baseline for the demolition of the building. We'd identify any hazardous materials. And part of the attachments that I did provide in response to Chairperson Labat's request was an updated budget. And so I captured these costs that I'm recommending in that budget. That budget not only captures some of the worst case scenario costs for the consultants, but also anticipates potential hazardous materials being found and costs to remediate that, and other associated costs with the potential demolition. Again, I'm not sure what the board is prepared to act on, if anything, this evening. The balance of the report talks about the other facilities. The only item of note is the Lafayette garage issue with the temporary power, which is still ongoing. We're still waiting for decision from the insurance company. I understand that the claim is being processed. They have agreed that it is a covered claim for both the cost of the vandalism and also the reimbursement of the temporary costs you're currently incurring for the temporary generator. What we're seeing with the numbers that have been provided by the electrical contractor, Federal Allied, they're indicating that the cost to replace what was vandalized will exceed the cost of the new system. While we don't have a number on the new system cost, we have a budget, and it appears to be less than the cost of the system that was vandalized. So the way the insurance companies work, they'll only pay based on what you had. They won't pay to improve it. They won't pay to change it. So in this case, if they pay to reimburse for the vandalized equipment, there may be some savings to the TPA that can be applied to other costs. But we don't have a final number from the electrical contractor because he needs a price on a custom transformer to transform the power that's being provided from public service from the 208, which is the new service they're providing, to the 480 volt that the current building is wired for. So the TPA needs to install a transformer, and that's what your electrician is currently working on to finalize pricing and availability for that transformer, which needs to be installed as part of the new electric service installation. So I don't have a schedule or final dollars, but that's a quick update on the Lafayette garage. I understand from Patrice, we're still operating under the temporary generator. Patrice, are we up to 3-day diesel delivery now, every third day or so? Or are you still doing every other day?
Yeah,
Every 3 days, you said, or every other week.
Every other?
it's every other
Every
day.
other. So we're, it's continuing and things are operating, but we don't have a solution till we get this transformer price. And then in turn, we have to finalize with the insurance company and then ultimately schedule a public service to get the new permanent service scheduled and installed.
Yeah, and I think, I think this has been handled really professionally under, unexpected, bad, weird circumstances, but still, you guys have kept on top of it. And actually, Patrice and I were on the phone with our insurance broker, and they were on top of it as well. They were very
we didn't
aware, and I
realize.
think they were pushing from their end to make sure they didn't. The dilemma would have been because this is this is actually physically located in the hotel. But it's always been located in the hotel, and they've always insured it, so they couldn't, use that as a, kind of fine print way to not cover it. And the beauty of this is that our service will no longer be located in the hotel. And it's nice to think that they might actually price reimbursing us based on what had been there, but I'm not counting any extra money.
Right, and we don't know yet until all the numbers are in, and again, what they'll reimburse on the temporary, less deductibles. So that's still in motion, as it were. Beyond that, that's really all I had. The other facilities are stable, no major issues. There are some sinkhole/potholes that need to be addressed over at Merchant Street, which I know Patrice is working on some pricing and.
Every few years, we got sinkholes from our own canal basin, right? At any rate, well, let me then jump on my chairperson's report to what you were.
And I have a couple of questions, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Lou, so tell me, between either Collier or THA, does someone have it in the design safety concerns or anything like that? Is that a part of anyone's design to come up with some kind of safeguards against while the demolition is in progress. Is that a part of either one of those packages?
It is, Scott, to a degree. So what they'll do is they'll put in the OSHA requirements, the industry standard safety requirements as part of the bid documents. But typically, just as a general comment specific to this project and all construction projects, the design team views the contractor as having the means and methods. So ultimately, it's the contractor responsible to develop. So the design team provides the format, right? The protocols they need to follow as regards safety, security, vibration monitoring, all the regulatory stuff. And then the contractor has to implement it. And most times the bid package will require a site-specific safety plan that the contractor has to submit after the bid, the successful contractor to put forth their plan, their safety plan that meets the regulatory and the local requirements for the demolition specific to this project, and this style building that's being demolished.
And lastly, given its close proximity to the two cross streets there, do you foresee the need to close down any one of those streets at any given period of time?
I would think there would be, limited, but a few days potentially, depending on, again, have to coordinate it with the contractor, and the ultimate design. But I suspect both Broad and Front, and maybe what they could do is just take one or the other rather than both, obviously. But likely Front, because that's more frontage, right, on the Front Street elevation. So I would think they'd probably work from that side and possibly have to close a section of the road, maybe only one direction, with the hope they could still have traffic, passing on the park side of Front Street. But again, as the plan is developed, yes, those will be addressed, and ultimately it's the contractor's responsibility to fulfill, those requirements for safety, security, and protection, even dust control, all of that stuff that goes with this type of project.
Lou,
Wait,
you
Michael, Councilwoman Frisbee raised her hand. You want to ask a question, Jessica?
Yeah, so thank you, everyone, and thank you, Chair.
I weren't on my screen before. I didn't ask you for questions with Comcast, so my apologies.
No,
Sorry.
it's no problem. And I'm having camera issues. My camera should be on, but it's black. I don't know what's going on with it. I've got to get it checked out at IT. But I actually, Scott and Lou, you actually were just hitting on some of the things that I was thinking about. And it is the safety aspect of it. I'm making sure that they have something like gates that are in place around that area, especially as we know that that space is used by young people a lot to do skateboarding. There's a lot of skateboarding that goes on that corner. And because it is such high traffic area over there, making sure that we have ample time for the community to be notified that whatever portion of the street that needs to be cut off will be cut up, that they are prepared for that it's not something that is thrown on them. And I would hope that we would do this a lot sooner than we do later with the security aspect of it. Now my brain is always in the high school state of mind where they waited too late and then they caught fire, so people, they linger in that space a lot, and I would hope that we would try to preserve it and do the best that we can with this space, at least anyway, to make sure that it is doesn't end up being a health hazard, a safety hazard for anyone.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes.
Madam.
And that will be addressed as part of the bid package. They will incorporate language that need to coordinate with Trenton, the building department, the public safety folks, as regards the actual construction, when that work does get awarded and start. And that's pretty typical. And the contractor will come back with a safety plan addressing all those elements. And that will be part of what's part of the bid for the contractor to include in their cost.
Thank you, Lou.
And Councilwoman, I will say too, Phil Jackson, our operations manager, had to step out. He got a call from one of our booth attendants, I think. But he is very much every day, always trying to keep that as secured and tight as possible. Do find that the skateboarders miss the curves and elevations we used to provide for them, and so they are, you know, they do break through that fence, and it's a bit of cat and mouse. You know, we're trying to stand on top of that, but that's ongoing, you know, that's.
Yes, it is.
So, Michael,
Thank you for that.
Michael,
Sure. So Lou, if you could comment just a little bit on, you know, this isn't going to be like the garage is not going to be imploded, or there's not going to be, you know, explosives used here. It's going to be kind of a meticulous dismantling with machinery. Do you imagine that?
That is correct, Michael. What I would expect is this is a precast structure. And so it's literally like an erector set, you know, almost like a like Legos, you know, on a just to make an analogy. And so what I expect will happen is that they will likely have crane and again, possibly have to be in the roadway because of the proximity to be able to actually take sections of the building down, actual planks that the cars currently ride on. Those would likely be taken down one, you know, piece by piece and dismantled. There's some discussion. Many of these projects, they bring a concrete crusher on site. Problem with that is noise and dust. So that would have to be addressed, but it becomes a more efficient and cost-effective project if you can do that. Whether that happens here remains to be seen. But yes, to answer Michael's question, I don't expect any implosions or things of that nature. They would probably take the building down with the grapple machines and with cranes section by section, and then possibly crush it on site. If not, they would then have to truck the, you know, manageable pieces off site to be crushed elsewhere. Ultimately, that building will be recycled as recycled concrete.
don't they put them they make them for reefs for the fish in the ocean? Don't they put them in the ocean and make a fish reef or
They
something?
do, some of them, yes.
At any rate, because, you know, we could put, well, at any rate, you know, what I have a question with is there overlap? Is this instead of THA Colliers, is this supplemental what THA would do? I'm not sure.
Yes, let me address, thank you. So what Colliers did is they are considered the site/environmental consultant to THA. And so what that means is THA is the parking consultant, and they are structural engineers and are familiar with parking deck garage structures. They defer to site engineers for the site work that would be involved in the design. And that's coordinating with the town's requirements for replacing sidewalks and curbs, that type of thing, the underground utility work, all of those design elements. They go out and survey what existing utilities are there so they can be disconnected as part of the demo project. So that's what they do.
They being, because they being, are you talking about
Colliers?
Okay.
And if you notice Colliers, they have, I believe, 10 breakouts of pricing or 6 or 8, and I was recommending only awarding a few at this time. One of the largest ones is a $37,000 cost for environmental work, which we're looking to engage USA Environmental for about $18,000 at this time. So again, now the scope's a little different, but I think it's more cost effective, and USA Environmental are the local folks, and they're your current LSRP, your licensed site remediation professional, who have done work on that site for the Trenton Parking Authority in the past. So they're the more logical. There's no learning curve, whereas you see in Collier's number, obviously that $37,000 for that service would involve a learning curve of them having to, you know, understand what the existing site conditions are. USA Environmental has that institutional knowledge already, and they're just looking to do the on-site testing and provide results to identify any additional hazardous materials that exist there. So, and to answer your question, yes, there is duplicative work, not so much between THA and Colliers, but certainly between Colliers, USA Environmental, and some of the work from Colliers we may not need, such as property corners, a property survey. We may need it, but we may not, so that's why I'm, trying to limit the engagement at this point and the cost to the bare bones of what I know we will need, to be able to position this for bidding out the demolition.
I mean, things like that are things that you could easily really kind of get competitive bids, and it might be.
We can, yeah, and this process, we can certainly do that as this rolls out. The design is probably a 2 to 3 month duration. I don't recall if THA actually gave us a schedule, but I suspect in my conversations, we were discussing about a 2 to 3 month window to prepare the bid package, subject to their consultants providing the information required. They would need to capture USA environmental test results to identify for bidders. If we go to bidders, that might be something the TPA, I'm anticipating that in our budget, that TPA would incur those environmental cleanup costs before the bids. But again, as this rolls out, it's a moving target, if you know what I mean. The tasks may change and the responsible party may change depending on how this project moves forward from here.
Understood. Yeah, it just seemed like there was some stuff that maybe isn't urgent to do or could be done.
Correct. Absolutely. And
I
you'll
mean,
notice my budget captures their all-in numbers, and then my recommendation in this month's facility report backs off those numbers and just really deals with the preliminary items we need to accomplish right now. So that's the background. Be happy to, to supplement it with some additional info for the board consideration if need to, as we go forward.
Yeah, just to get apples to apples and, and kind of highlight what was really needed. All right. So a work in progress, but it feels like progress. So
Yes.
what I did want to get back to was your, saying what are we prepared to move forward with? And part of my report, I'll jump to that on the CCRC grant, which everybody knows right now is stopped. There's nothing going on there. And we did in fact deliver a $65,000 check back to CCRC. I did have a meeting with the mayor about this because he is on the CCRC board. And, reiterated what we've been saying to CCRC in several correspondences that we don't understand, and they've really never given us a reason as to why they disallowed all those expenditures. And the mayor said, if in fact this is all legitimately pre-demolition, he will speak up at the meeting and push for us to be able to get those reimbursed and then move forward. Now, I did call because I guess I emailed. We reached out to the chair of CCRC, which is Joanne Povia, who is chief of staff to the state treasurer, and Kathy Nichols, who is an attorney. I guess she's the attorney for the CCRC board. They have no staff, so she would be an NJEDA staff person, I guess. And it'll be a week, and we reached out to them to get a meeting date, and it'll be a week. It'll be part of the meeting date. I think that they were having meetings, and my sources found out that they were meeting among themselves, if you will. But I'm gonna pester her again to get us a meeting so they can, so we can go through what you did for us, Lou, in terms of kind of giving us a real broad scope of everything that could be justified as pre-demolition, so that as we start this process again, they're not narrowly interpreting, which is, I think, what happened here. I don't understand why they would narrowly interpret something like contingency, that nothing fit under that category. It's just really crazy to me, but we are pushing to restart these conversations so that we can then pull the trigger on some of what you have queued up for us. Anybody got any questions in that regard? We just, we keep pushing. But relative to the other report that sat on the top of our report, I think everybody probably saw that Lou has decided to avail himself of a very well-earned retirement. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that you're giving us as much time as possible and, or as much time as you did. It's very generous of you because we knew this was coming. If folks know another Lou, we'll be doing an RFQ to try and identify that type of person. Lou has even said he can, he would help transition to a new person or firm, if that's the way that goes. But it means we're putting that in motion, but the timing is good in terms of RFQs anyway. We need to do one bookkeeping end of things as well, so we'll have those done at once. So yeah, so we're appreciative of that, but we're not going anywhere right away, so we'll
Right,
keep.
yeah, I'm more than happy to help anything I can do to help the transition and help Patrice
Yeah.
and Phil.
And I do think, if we can meet with the CCRC folks, hopefully within the next week or so, fast track, just reinstituting a grant because it shouldn't change in form. It will just change in the appendix that outlines the scope.
Correct.
I think this document, which is what we did last time, we used your scope, it got incorporated in the grant. So hopefully we will, it's something that can move quickly. If they have to go before their board, I will check to see what the dates are. But if it seems that all systems are go, there might be ways we can put some of the stuff in motion, even as they're doing paperwork.
Great. And Patrice and I can work on the second column on the right on that budget that I put together. What I was attempting to do was show a budget figure and then capture any cost incurred to date. And that's why I had question marks. I know, for example, the monthly security, with dogs, that's been ongoing for a while. I have the rough idea, it's about 3,000 a month, but I don't know what the cumulative. So that might help to be able to demonstrate to CCRC how much has been expended and what the current reimbursement might, we'll be seeking when we do meet with them. Because
For, first of all, the stabilization, wasn't it like 32,000?
that's, I thought that was 24, to see the design temporary structural stabilization. I thought that was for 24,000. Was there a construction admin that I didn't capture? Patrice?
Yeah, there's the-
Design is 24, install is 32 plus 15.
Right, because if you notice, Patrice, above the line,
I screwed up.
On top.
yeah, quick explanation, Patrice.
Oh, okay.
Above the line is all soft costs, so below the line are the hard costs, so that's where you're gonna see. And if you'd like, I'll identify the vendors, because
All
COP,
right, I gotcha.
you see COP 32, and I'm guessing 15, he's gonna bid those last two clips, we didn't get the price on.
Yeah, that's the other thing, okay.
The estimate, so,
In the right place, yeah.
right, but yeah, I can work with you, we
Okay.
can, this way it could be, not only a planning document, this is money spent already, for reimbursement as well, so we could present, so. But yeah, we can certainly work on that before, once we have a date of that meeting, I can help you finalize this document and.
All right, we're hoping to get a meeting within a week. I gotta, we asked a week ago for a date and, we kind of said, we'll fit your schedule. All right. It's a lot that you gave us, Lou, we're much appreciative, and we all reviewed it, we'll study it some more. Okay. Anybody got anything for Lou? Anything else? Michael, Lindy, Sam? Okay,
Great,
All
thank
right.
you.
just going through,
Thanks, Lou.
Patrice puts on my chairperson's report, Lafayette Yard, but really it's Lou. Lou's the one that knows that. CCRC grant, we updated on that just quickly now. Garden front garage update. Yeah, I think we're there. The asset activation grant, the RFEI, a second version was, I just sent to you all. It's a prettier one than the first one. I did distribute that and got comments from J.R. Papasso in the city, Julie Kraus at Treasury, Simran Rare at DCA. Michael gave you some comments. I'm forgetting someone. Scott had a comment. The one thing that I still want to tweak a little bit is both Julie and JR were a little bit like, can we make clearer the RFEI to RFP transition process? So even what I just sent around today, I want to tweak a little bit more based on their comments. Caldwell University,
Back up a second there, madam. So when again, so we're still doing final edits to the RFEI. When will it be done? I mean, it's still.
we're pretty close. We have put together a lot of, well, we have a press release. We got the mayor's comment edited from him back, and we have lists. We're anticipating doing a distribution based on a press release, and that will get us into a lot of the real estate, and business publications, NJ Biz, ROI New Jersey, Real Estate New Jersey, Jersey Digs, those kind of places that run with these sort of stories. We'll get it out to all of them. At the same time, we'll do a mass email. I talked to Patrice. My firm has a constant contact account, and we can use that and strip off all of our identifying stuff and make it all TPA, rather than the TPA getting an account for a one-time initiative like this. And then I just want to wrap up. Well, I still am getting links and information, kind of graphics to the web guys. And I need to kind of feel from them as to when they think it'll be ready to go.
But when can we set some kind of target date for the press release?
Well, I really think it's important that it all goes out together at once. The press, you know, I really think that they can go out all at once, you know, within, like, we'll set a week, and maybe the first week in June. I hope we have it all done, but the process of getting comments is important.
So our target date is.
You know what, I'm gonna have to, let me look at a calendar and let me talk to the guys at the web, because I had thought we would have it out by now, and that just didn't happen. So before I give you a date again that we can't match.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, can we just say, hey, June 15th, the best you can get on the website, June 15th, the best you can get on the press release, and just set that date and just make them work. Because if you just give them free carte blanche.
I think that's entirely reasonable. We're pretty far off from that. Yeah, I think, we're kind of tweaking at this point. I think that RFEI that I circulated looks a lot different than the first draft that you first looked at.
And if we don't put a date to it, we're going to keep tweaking and moving along. If we don't have any kind of expectation as to when it should be done, people are going to take their time. They're going to get back. But if you give them a date, I need to hear back from you by this, so we can get out by that.
I'm sorry. You're asking for when do? Oh, you're not asking for when do respondents get back to you. You're asking.
No. I want no. I want to know when we're going to send it out and set a deadline for that, because we keep tweaking and waiting and nothing's moving and everybody's still, let me look again. If we have a date at least in here.
If you want to manage part of it, you can. I mean, the reality is, between staff and myself as a volunteer, there is the reality of nothing moves along as fast as you want, but we've got the pieces. And I'm kind of working through with Patrice odds and ends, like how we're going to have probably a responding. We'll probably set up in the Gmail for all the responses to come back to. So that's sort of controlled. It'll be a unique Gmail for things to come back to. I mean,
but my problem is that we keep moving along with no target at all. I mean, we have nothing. You can come back July.
Nothing. You'll have nothing.
No.
Believe me, I feel the pressure.
Oh, I understand. I'm not saying.
I wish I could say it's going to happen, but I don't.
But that's why I'm suggesting that instead of trying to make this perfect solution, we do something by X. We got a date. Work toward that date. Whatever you got then, that's what you go with. Instead, because it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You know that.
We're coordinating an email and a press release is what we're talking about, and having the web available, because we're parking a lot of information on that website.
But the press release you want to go out simultaneously, though. There's no
If we're putting out an RFI that is referring to a website, the website has to be active. And that's what I will push to get a definitive date from those guys. And I don't have that. And I owe them some information as well. But you said June 15th, I actually think that's entirely reasonable based on where we are.
I mean, you can adjust it later on, but just say June 15th, and if it goes to the 21st, it goes to the 21st, but set some kind of expectation so people know what they're moving toward versus thinking, oh, we can go to September. And I know you don't want to, but there's nothing stopping us from going to September. We don't have a target. So let's just work with June 15th and we can reassess by then. Where are we? Should we stop? Should we go forward? I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I'm just going to build some expectations so we know whether we're making progress or not. I can't feel the progress because everything keeps waiting for all these different pieces and responses from different people who don't even probably care about our schedule because we don't have a schedule right now.
Well,
Our schedule was actually December.
Yeah, until we found out we didn't have to be on that schedule. So.
Right. Yeah. So
Well,
now we're 6 months later.
But I think that doing it right, because we won't get a chance to do this again. And I will tell you, I sent it to the guy that gave us the grant, this Jason Miller, the one that was circulated today, that we really, I added a lot of graphics and pictures to make it more of a sales piece. And he was very pleased because he said, he used the example of Collingswood. He says, you got to sell, even if you don't, it's got to be sales. And that's what we're trying to transition this to. We got to sell Trenton, sell the opportunity.
I understand. I understand.
And kind of, upping the standards. Important, you almost have to see it to realize, well, we've got to do better. Okay, Caldwell University, your name is by that, but I don't know, you missed that meeting. Did he come?
Yeah. Yeah, I took a look at the presentation, which looks very nice, very professionally done. The only question I'm going to end up having, and I haven't been at the meetings, I want to make sure that we take the information that they've collected and compare it to what Patrice say. Does this make sense? Does this sound, because they're targeting revenue for monthly, quarterly, does that really make sense with what we got internally here that we're working with? I know, Patrice, you sent them some data. I was going to make sure they actually rated your actual findings with theirs to make sure they're all, working together. You know what I mean?
It's sort of funny.
So if we said we made $1 million, they said we made $2 million. I don't want to see that, but if they have our numbers, they can try to massage their data. So, okay, I see where this might have come from, because there could be some little bit of garbage in the data that may throw them off and thinking we have something we don't. But if they know the number is 750,000, period, they can work towards making that number make sense in the data they're seeing in terms of usage and utilization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ed, very quick, have you discussed any numbers with them with regard to price tag with the Comcast vendor?
I'm sorry, say that again, Sam.
Have you discussed any price tag?
Price
How
tag?
much it cost?
For the, well, you mean for Caldwell University? That was a student.
No.
Comcast.
Comcast.
Okay. They did give us a quote and, it was roughly what? Did you text that to me?
Yeah, I think it's roughly $12,000 to install it. And then it's roughly $1,700 a month. But that $1,700 a month can change as to how much we use it. There's a cost. Yeah, can you?
I wanted distribute this so that we can all kind of take a look at that.
I think I gave it to everybody.
Oh, you have it. What is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the way they broke it down is the first charge is like 11,000. That's to do the installation, get it started up, all that.
That's a one-time.
That's the one-time fee. And then the monthly fee is like $1,800 base right now, as far as what they determine our usage is. If our usage goes up, then they have a breakdown of where they would charge extra for the more usage.
Yeah, so those are the base right.
So, from the presentation, what do you think is the advantage to compared to the existing system we have?
Well, I will tell you, we're gonna do this as a test in the one garage, the one we're sitting in. And our system here is horrible. I mean, I stopped by to pick up, to sign checks, and when I left, I see a workman talking to our guy, frustration, because on that particular day, we couldn't even get a change. So first off, he wanted to be here for an hour or so. He had already parked his car, only to find out he had to pay the full day rate because our system is so bad here. And now he couldn't get changed. He had to pay $20 to park here for about an hour. And that's how bad our software is.
Wow.
So
Came in here and got and changed it, was
I don't know, our guy sitting out there told them no change. So then our guy was misinformed, but I was like, oh geez, we gotta change something. And this is also the deck where we have these tokens that we use for the students, which are also very old school. Because if I'm not mistaken, the students can use the token and stay however they want. If they're intended and they're priced to be the length of a class, but there's no control over it. So it's just, you know, and then the county college buys a lot and they don't seem to come back. They don't seem to get used.
Oh, really?
No, they're getting used now.
Now they're getting used,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So for all of those reasons, this particular, like if you were the one on Front Street, that's the newest software, right?
Right.
Even though Best can't access it for some strange reason.
No, we are definitely getting better with it, and that's what I had, Phil and I we're looking at it a little deeper. We just have to figure out how to pull the reports but we need to know exactly what reports you're looking to pull.
Okay,
It
so
has a lot of information there, but
let me give you a quick little backstory that happened. Okay, so remember, I think it was like a year and a half ago, the system got hacked,
Completely.
okay? So when Best came back in and reinstalled the program, they didn't reinstall it with everything that the program could do, the system could do. Which is probably one of the reasons why you wasn't getting the information that you kind of wanted, because it wasn't even tapped into.
No, that's Best.
Yes.
That's our consultant.
Oh, yes. Now that y'all are asking for it, they are trying to pull it all out now. Now they're trying to give it to us and all that. There's a couple other things that we have to do. We have to decide on our end if we want to use Best and the other stuff that comes with the decision. The problem with that is, the way it sounds is, if we add more stuff to it, we have to pay something for it. But the system is capable of pretty much doing everything. So it can pull all the reports we want, it can take contactless payments, it can take a QR code.
But that's only one facility.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so the problem is, if we want some uniformity in terms so that we can really analyze our occupancy levels, our peak levels, what days are busy system-wide, we're not gonna be able to.
So I'm sorry about that. So, quick question. I want to know whether this our present system, okay? Are we paying Monday to anybody?
Yeah, we pay a
So,
company Best.
yeah, if so, can they upgrade the software for that system?
it was around $150,000 or something per location.
No, 50,000. That's ridiculous.
per location. So we never, you know.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We got lucky at Liberty Commons because, well, I don't want to say lucky, that's not the right word for it, but what happened was there was a car fire there a couple years back. And what happened was, with the insurance, we were able to upgrade at that time because all the equipment needed to be replaced. So that's the reason why we have that upgraded at Liberty Commons.
So only one
Mhm.
has really good software, which up until now, because of our consultants, we're not taking advantage of. So you're pointing out something important. It's kind of like, what's the cost benefit analysis of making a change? And what's it gonna get us? But we in the past, because, you know, pre-COVID, we were just always pretty full. And we had money coming in from the state, and we paid all our bills, and nobody kind of looked at anything much, and now everything has changed. And when we tried to look at data on usage, we couldn't, on the Caldwell University thing. Scott, you may or may not agree with me, I don't know that getting a final report from them is, you know, is something that necessarily is gonna be super useful to us, because we struggled so much getting the data for them to analyze. But it certainly opened our eyes as to how bad we were operating in terms of, you know, what data systems should be. I mean, it was a struggle to get any data, raw data from our. Scott, do you want to comment on that?
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, we really didn't know. We just knew. We just knew money. You know how much we made. We don't know what that means in terms of usage, really.
And we started talking about this when we had some clients come back from COVID saying, well, we don't want monthly. And we didn't have any capacity to do anything but monthly. And, you know, I remember talking to Mike Sisilka, our former consultant over from Next. He said, everybody's got this problem. And everybody's trying to figure out how to solve it. And first he thought there was something that he knew about that was an overlay that was going to be great. He dug in, found out it was wildly expensive.
And well, I do believe there's a need to upgrade our systems. The problem I have is that if we do look at Comcast with that presentation, I guess it's a good thing. Like, I believe we need to bring in, you know, a second competitor. You know, if we desire to do the change, bring in a second competitor and compare the price. As far as the benefits, you know, price and benefits. You know, it's essential that we do an upgrade to catch up. You know, so Comcast is cool, but if we decide to switch, I think we should try to look at a second vendor.
Well, I will tell
No
you that
opinion.
I met Don at something called the Newark Summit, and it was a developer summit that they did up in Newark. They had almost 1,000 people there, and so I thought, well, maybe we'll find some development for our site. And I went up, and they had sort of a trade show thing happening, and he had a table, and then there was another group that had a table there. I did reach out to them. I didn't hear back from them, but I could try them again. And that was I think that was Laz Parking, L-A-Z.
That sounds familiar.
They're another big parking operator. I remember laughing because their business cards were parking tickets. You know, like little, you know, your little ticket that you use in the machine. And they had business cards, and I still probably have that around. So and they said, and I had talked to Don already, and I said, oh, I talked to this guy, and they says, oh, we do that. And they gave me their cards. And I reached out once and didn't hear back from them, where Don's been calling constantly, so he's in heavy sales mode. So, but I take your point. I'll track those guys down and, you know, see if there's others. My thought was also, though, that we would run this past Mike Sisilka, our former consultant, and get his opinion.
The only thing is that he would like to try to push that other, because he did a program. And
Okay,
that-
so Mike Sisilka's got something too.
Yeah, but it was a lot more than that.
The next best thing.
Yeah. All right, so Sam, we'll take that under advisement. I would like us to try to not delay inordinately. And I do think we're not, they very much understand this as kind of a test case in this deck. And if, you know, even after we try this, we want to try something else, or if we can get a conversation before that. You know, timing kind of is the frustration here. It is.
Also, are you saying we're actually on the clock?
I'm sorry.
Are we on the clock? I mean, what I'm trying to say that so we have to
No.
give them some answer at some point.
Yeah, we've got to give an answer. Now, it's under our threshold. The pricing they're talking about is under our threshold where we have to go out for bids. And it is a professional service, so I think that we could.
There's a time limit, like in other words, we told them to get back to in 2 weeks, but no.
No, I mean, we're gonna have Michael kind of take a look at the agreement. And,
Okay.
you know, I do think that this was sort of an introduction. I mean, Scott and I were able to get on a phone call with them before, and then Patrice and I were on a phone call with them again. But it was important to have the whole board talk, but I don't think, you know, we're voting tonight. Yeah, you know, I'll reach out to Labs Parking and then, you know, as Patrice says, Nexus has something. And see, you know, what they suggest, and we can, you know, distribute that information. Wait a minute, let's keep this moving. We'll keep going, because everybody's time, this is getting too long. Okay. You know, this HR consultant engagement discussion, if you haven't checked your email, you got an email from our fellow board member that was indicative. Our councilwoman is no longer on the call, but it's pretty well understood that Evangeline will not be reappointed for the board. Pardon me? Yes, and so there'll be a new board member. Patrice, is it fair to say you kind of feel like this, if that's a circumstance, this is moot? Oh, yeah. So so the HR question that Patrice raised sort of becomes moot with Evangeline no longer on the board. So I think that might be the last time this shows up on our list here. If anybody has any thoughts or insights for me relative to Evangeline's message, let me know. I don't think I didn't read it really closely. It came in pretty late this afternoon. I just understood it to mean she was not going to be at the meeting tonight. Okay. Anything else for the good in the order? Good of the order, I guess is the phrase.
Do you want to ask anybody else if they have found the invitation to do their financial disclosures?
Yeah, Lindy, did you get anything from the city clerk about doing a disclosure?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. And I was on the whole time. I just had problems connecting. But anyway, no, I have not. I don't recall seeing anything yet.
All right, I did get something. But you guys are the mayoral appointees. I wonder if that has, let me find out. Maybe the clerk doesn't generate those. I'll find out because I owe mine. I know I got something. And Sam, did you get anything from the city clerk via email?
From who?
From the city clerk?
Today?
No, in the last couple of weeks.
No, I don't remember
Alright.
seeing.
All right, I'll track it down. I'm sure, I'm pretty certain I saw something and just kind of said that's on my to-do list. I'll get to that. But I'll clarify why you haven't gotten it, and we'll let them know we're on top of it.
Yeah, I did receive an email. So check your email. It would be from Brandon Garcia, who's the city clerk.
I definitely didn't get it.
I'll check.
And I even went online to check and logged in, and the financial disclosure section is not even highlighted for me to even do it. So whether I missed the email or not, it was not there for me.
All right. I'll find out. One of the council people called me from his office, they were on speakerphone about the vacancies of the, you know, we've got some attendance challenges here among some members. But I thought he was looking at the whole list, frankly, so I don't know that you're being mayoral appointees makes a difference. Okay. Anything else? Thanks for that, Scott. Let's slip away. All right, then I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move that we close and adjourn.
I'll second.
Thanks, Sam. All righty, we'll be in touch. Look for emails, look for whatever.
All right, good night, everybody.
Night.
All right, have a good night.
Thank
Good night.
you. Good night, Lou.
Bye, Lou.
Bye-bye. Talk to you.